Hey, well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us here live on Facebook and YouTube with our morning devotional here. We're doing it again. Just a reminder, we're doing it on Wednesdays and Fridays here, so join with me every chance you get. Once again, Pastor Randy Carr here from Beaverdam Mennonite Church, and just so honored to have so many of you joining in this morning. And it's good to be able to do stuff like this and to share a word with you as we pursue Christ together. And really that's what this is all about. It's about pursuing Christ and growing in our, not just our knowledge of Jesus, but also our intimate relationship with Him and becoming a better person through Christ. So yesterday, I want to share a little story. So yesterday, Raymond, my youngest son, finished up planting our corn this year. And no, we're not really farming this year. Just doesn't make sense to, doesn't pay to. So we did a few little food plots for the wildlife. And so yesterday, Raymond planted the last one we were doing, and it was actually for the neighbor. And when he got back from planting, or at least we thought we had finished planting. So our corn planter has all kinds of gears and chains and hydraulics and a whole lot of little moving parts that all have to work together. Tons of these little moving parts, and it has a monitor on it that tells you when each seed is planting. Well, I was lazy this year since we were only doing about 2 acres. Actually, it was a little less than that. I just didn't feel like taking the time to hook it up, and everything usually works fine anyway. And with all these moving parts, a small part, a chain, a drive chain on the planter unit popped off, and we didn't catch it. So with all these moving parts, we didn't notice until we went through the entire field. And so last evening, I had to jump on the tractor about 8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock, somewhere in there, and finish up planting and replant it. It really only took me about a half an hour, but it was a pain, you know. And it just reminded me that every part on that planter, every part has a purpose. Now that purpose for that individual part is different than the purpose of the entire planter. With them all working together, the purpose of the planter is to put seeds in the ground at the right depth so they grow and we get a crop. But the chain, its purpose isn't to do that. Its purpose is to stay on the gears to move so the rest of the parts can do their job. They all must, this is neat, they all must work in unison. And they all have a unique purpose that when combined, this greater purpose is accomplished. Success is accomplished when each part is doing its job. That's life. That's our life. That's our body. Our bodies work best when every part is working properly. I mean, where you work, you have a purpose at work to do your individual job so that the overall goal of the company can be successful. And that's church too. I mean, that is church. Yes, that is church. We each have our part within the church to help the overall goal or purpose of the church be accomplished. In order for a church to be successful in completing the mission that God has placed before us, we all have to do our part. Every one of us. So where am I going with this? This Sunday we're continuing the little sermon series I'm doing, To Live as Christ. And of course it's out of Philippians 1. Last week we looked at to live as Christ and to die as gain. And there's not a whole lot that Paul goes into in Philippians on the death side of things. Our reward there is just getting to be with Jesus. So to live as Christ. Philippians 1:27. I know that you are standing firm in one spirit, striving side by side with one mind for the faith of the gospel. This week, Paul, we're going to get into how Paul is really calling for, as he gets into what is the purpose of the church to live, what is the purpose of to live as Christ. As he gets into that, he starts out with how important it is to be united. To be united together, that we're each doing our part, working together, standing side by side with one mind, working together to live out the purpose of the church. And our purpose is simple. Our purpose is to share Jesus with everyone. And I'm not talking about sharing Jesus by our words, but I'm talking about by our actions. So, that's all I got today. Thanks for joining in, guys. It's been great having you. Hope if you want a little bit more on this, a little bit more in depth, this is where I'm going on Sunday. Join us Sunday morning, 10:45, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. And hey, we're also here in person. You show up we've taken some extra precautions here for safety and health and all that. We encourage people to wear their masks and of course wash their hands, but show up and join us here. So thanks a bunch. Thanks for joining in. Love y'all. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.